Hi, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and I'm back hot off of a weekend at the London Grand Tournament, the LGT. I'm going to talk a bit about that event and my experiences with Warhammer tournaments in general on Wednesday of this week. But I am going to talk about a Warhammer-y thing today. Now, some of you are probably thinking, what the fuck, Vince, you only talk about Warhammer on Wednesdays. But today, this kind of transcends just Warhammer and Games Workshop and me, and it does tie into the dealings of content creators with other companies as well, because I'm going to mention how I have had dealings similar to this with other companies. Today I'm going to talk about the news that broke over the weekend that there is supposedly an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement given by GW, Games Workshop, to smaller content creators. That seems it just seems to be, if it's real, it's very fucking nefarious. Now, a couple of disclaimers up front. Firstly, I'm no legal expert. I'm coming at this as a content creator in similar boats to the smaller content creators that have supposedly leaked this, and as a fan and critic in many ways as well. Secondly, there is an argument that this might not even be real. I'll come to more of the questions around that a little bit later, and I'll be linking to a video in the description below that also talks about the NDA in great detail specifically, as well as the reasons why that person, Discourse Miniatures, believes that it is real. None of this surprises me, and it's still a topic to be discussed in terms of how big companies interact with smaller YouTubers, content creators, social media influencers, and critics. And I guess thirdly, I'm coming from a place where I've signed no NDA or seen an NDA sent specifically to me by Games Workshop. They've actually just ghosted me when I approached them to talk to them about getting product and such. So that's just some disclosure of where I'm at with GW, legal shit, and also this whole it's fake. So first of all, what is a non-disclosure agreement? Well, it is a legal agreement between two parties to not disclose information to the public or other parties during the course of said agreement. Usually, it's used by companies to keep trade secrets or product information away from either competitors or the public until a set date or until a product launches. In this industry, in this niche, it's often used to have people like myself and other content creators not reveal information that they have early to the general public or competitors. Now, this is often used primarily to just reduce or control the flow of information to the public so that companies can control their marketing campaigns, essentially. Content creators like myself will get product early from companies. We'll get preview cards or things to write about for articles or videos ahead of time, and there'll be an embargo date to stop you doing that early. This is often seen in video games as well, where people will have similar sort of agreements to stop them from leaking information on a video game ahead of the embargo date for reviews of said video games. I've already said how I don't have any relationship like this with Games Workshop, but I have signed, I think it's close to 7 or 8 different NDAs over my course of time working as a YouTuber and social media influencer. I have signed some for advertising companies that work with large companies like Konami and Bandai, and I've signed NDAs directly with companies like Hasbro. These NDAs were to keep details of upcoming promotions or events, or in the case of Hasbro, to keep information such as the original Secret Lair drop and preview cards for each season. You get an NDA disclosure for those, to keep that stuff under wraps until the date that they have said you can release it, so that, again, they can control preview season, which is basically a big marketing campaign. Further to that, I've signed NDAs with people like Channel Fireball, with Ultra Pro. For example, when Ultra Pro sent me product to do promos on Instagram or showing videos and stuff as I unbox things on stream, I have on occasion seen art that is for cards that are getting announced a week or two out. So I get super early stuff. So I'm not allowed to disclose that stuff. And with Channel Fireball, it's been primarily just event information ahead of time. It's not a boys club or some sort of secret cabal. It's just companies wanting to keep things under wraps until they're ready to tell people, or sometimes until those things are concrete. NDAs will often give you information that end up never ever coming out. For example, playtest information, I assume, is under some sort of Games Workshop NDA. It is not unusual for NDAs to exist, and it is absolutely the industry norm for companies to ask social media influencers, journalists, critics, YouTubers to sign NDAs ahead of time. So what exactly is the controversy this time around if it's the norm? Well, some smaller creators essentially did what I would call whistleblowing by telling other creators, larger creators with bigger audiences, that they received some NDAs with some very weird stuff on. Now again, a lot of this is leaks and people talking to other people and people not wanting to come out and say things public. What did happen was one other creator that I'm not going to name here, I'm not going to create a brigade, but another creator doxed another creator. One creator told everyone who had leaked some of this, gave out their email and other information in some screenshots, and so they didn't care that they were doing it, and they were happy to do so. And before we move on to talking about NDAs, I just want to say that is really fucking scummy. Whether you are criticizing a large company or corporation, or whether you are defending said large company or corporation, and on that side of things it's probably worse. But either way, no matter your current mood, your personal politics, how you perceive the whole situation, doxing another human being, giving out the information of another human being, especially someone who's in your boat. They aren't a huge corporation or company, they're an individual just trying to make some hobby content on the internet. Giving out their information and also letting people know that they are the people leaking something that is potentially quite nefarious and damaging to other creators, that is shitty. So I'm not going to say who did it, but I just want to say and go on the record that it was fucking shitty. So some smaller creators have given out this information to larger creators to go public with it, and we've seen people giving backlash to this NDA shit, and Reddit not liking it, and so on and so on. So what is the actual problem with this NDA? Well, there's a few issues. The first of which is this term indemnity. I will put a link to the Imgur leaked version of this NDA in the description below, alongside the link to Discourse Miniatures, who goes into much more detail than I'm going to do on each clause, because they have a legal background. It's a good video, I recommend you watch it. In a nutshell, the indemnity clause, number 6 of the clauses on the NDA that you can find the link down below, it talks about how you are, upon signing this, agreeing to pay all legal fees and costs in future if taken to court over this, regardless of whether or not you were at fault. This is fucking weird, because when I've gone back and checked every single NDA I've ever signed, I've never seen anything like it. And I asked another creator, who should go unnamed, because I'm not sure if they want to be public on this, what their NDA with GW looks like. Doesn't have this either. Next up, what is this at fault thing? Well, it talks about how they would like you to never do anything that would damage the reputation of Games Workshop. Clause 4.1.7. If you can't tell, my voice is fucked from shouting about Warhammer all weekend. Anything that would be harmful to the reputation of GW. And then there's also another clause in the section 4 as well. It is section 4, right? And section 4 in general is the non-compete and non-solicitation area, where it talks about if you were to steer people away from buying or continuing to do business with GW, you'd be at fault in breaching this contract. Now, let's unpack. So to unpack those clauses a little bit, what is this whole idea of steering people away or creating a competing thing? Well, it's open to interpretation. This is the problem, right? My thought is that it's probably to do with people like Duncan Rhodes who've left the company and made their own painting academies and their own competing products. People who might leave and make their own games, for example, from the design teams. Sounds like something that is probably copy and pasted from an actual employee document onto this, which creates an employee-employer relationship without any of the benefits, right? Because you aren't making money directly from GW. They're not paying you anything. They're giving you like a, I don't know, 200 and £300 worth of fucking plastic kits every month or two to then do this, where you can't go and make your own thing because you're in breach of this fucking contract. The other reading of it, which I don't know how, I'm not legally minded, but I'm not really getting this from this, is the idea that if you do a negative review, or you suggest that people go play another game, like Infinity, for example, or Warcry, or no, Warcry's theirs, the other War Machine, that's the one, then you would be in breach of this as well. And obviously there are plenty of channels out there who do advocate other skirmish and war games. So that would be in breach of this contract as well, supposedly. I don't know how much I got that reading out of it. And of course the harming of reputation, that's obviously, it's a clause I've seen in contracts and stuff that I've signed before. It's the idea of going on social media and like being, like I am, where I talk about tonguing people's arseholes on Twitter. It's that sort of stuff, because it might seem like the sort of thing they don't want to associate with their brand, but it also could be things like harmful reviews. Now, all of this stuff people have been saying as a defense of this potential NDA, if it's real, is that none of this would hold up in court. That is the argument that a lot of people have been saying, right? They're never going to take you to court over a bad review because that wouldn't hold up. But, and here's the big but, if it's real, why are they putting it on a fucking document and sending it to smaller creators? There is a potential that if this is real, it is a new drafted up version of the NDA, and it's been drafted up badly. This is one of the points that Discourse Miniatures makes, that lawyers or people working in legal departments that aren't necessarily lawyers, but they have that sort of training, those people aren't perfect, they aren't superheroes. The fact that there's an old logo on this might just be internal, slow to change things. I worked in a bank where documents looked fucking ancient and used old logos. That is not unusual. It could be that these people have made mistakes. They have copy and pasted things from other documents that are meant for employees into the social media contract thing on a different folder. But this stuff shouldn't be on this document, whether it will hold up in court or not. That doesn't fucking matter. If this is a real document, it accounts to gesturing or like threatening behavior in some ways. It's similar to how when a bully says they're gonna fucking kill you and you think they're probably not gonna kill me. It's still shitty that someone is bullying you into doing something at school. I'm thinking school, so. But it is kind of like being bullied, right? A smaller creator who is trying to make their way in this world, in this community, in this niche, may be disincentivized to do any of the things that are true to them, to be actually critical, to branch out into other games, to encourage other people to branch out into other games. Those sort of things are dissuaded by the language and the rhetoric of an NDA of this type. And again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to stress this, because this is my unique point, right? My unique angle on the whole story is that I have signed NDAs before. I'm not going to show them. I'm not going to link to the ones that I have signed, because I don't think you can. I have to go through and read carefully, as you always should when reading an agreement. But the point is, I've gone back and Control-F'd, and I know, at least I'll say this, they don't have this kind of shit in them. A lot of the copyright claims that happen on YouTube, they aren't held up in a court of law either. Companies still use them to bully people out of using their stuff for fair use or being critical. Only recently did we see that Midwinter Minis, possibly the largest Warhammer YouTube channel at least in the UK, perhaps in the world, doing gangbusters in numbers and doing absolutely incredible things for improving the community and growing the community and just making it a welcoming place for newbies like me to come into. He did an honest review of Warhammer Plus with positives and cons, and it got copyright claimed, not struck. Striking is the thing that can damage a channel. That's real serious stuff, but claimed, which basically means if you're on YouTube and you have stuff in your video that is someone else's copyright, they can claim it, and if YouTube's like, okay, which it will be, because the whole system's absolutely fucked and benefits big companies, not individuals, they can then take the ad revenue, because in theory, you're using their music or whatever, they get it. I have this happen to me whenever I use like a clip from like a BBC comedy that's more than 3 or 4 seconds long, even if it is contextually different and transformative, and all these things that people argue is fair use, it doesn't fucking matter. You're not taking the BBC, you're not taking the GW companies to court. They just get it through this fucking stupid system. Either way, this was not automatic. When you have an automatic copyright claim, you have a piece of song or a piece of video, and the algorithm, the systems within YouTube check it, and they check against content ID systems, and they flag it up, and the people who have claimed that thing is theirs automatically claim your videos. This was a manual claim, because Guy over at Midwinter Minis was just filming his laptop, which was playing Warhammer Plus for B-roll as he reviewed the thing. So ultimately he could have showed footage of the animations on screen and would have been within fair use because he's reviewing, but he actually, quite smartly, did it as a screen being filmed, a little bit artsy, a little bit of a side shot, a little bit of like grain on the screen on purpose, right? Not because of bad production, because Guy's production is phenomenal. It was purposeful. So someone at Games Workshop decided to go in and manually claim this video as copyright infringing. And it wasn't. And Guy made a big fuss about it, and it got really fucking popular on Reddit and Twitter, and people were shouting about it. And GW admitted the mistake and said it was a mistake. There's a whole video which I will also link down below as he goes into this. And they admitted the mistake and unclaimed it. But now Guy is asking for the money back for the ad revenue that he didn't get for the first 2 days, as they made it uneligible to make ad revenue. There's a couple of ways you can do this when you're a big corporation. You can take the ad revenue that the creator is making off of the thing that's got your copyright material in it, or you can just make it ineligible. They made it ineligible, which means that they didn't take the money either. Guy didn't get it, just got left in the ether with YouTube. Guy is now asking for, I think he said he's out of pocket by about £200 from this video being very popular the first 2 days. He wants that money back from GW, and he will take legal action if he doesn't. And you know what? Fuck yes. The idea of a content creator putting it to the man is cool, but the fact that he's going to take a stance on this against GW is fantastic, because it makes them perhaps think twice about doing this to a smaller creator. And he says this in the video that I'm linking to. If this was a smaller creator, no one would have known. It wouldn't have got the traction and the well, maybe it would have someone picked it up. If like Goobertown Hobbies, like he did with the NDAs and this, picks it up and gives it some traction. But there's a chance that it goes unnoticed, and GW can continue to bully content creators with manual fucking claims in their review videos, which are completely unfair. Someone at that company thought it was a good idea to manually claim a review of their product. If that is the kind of people we are dealing with, maybe it was a genuine mistake. But if those are the kind of people we're dealing with who are like, yeah, we can get them, no one will fight this, then why the fuck wouldn't they put some stupid clause into an NDA that no one's reading? Look, I'm not adding anything truly profound to this. I just wanted to sound in on it because I didn't like it. They're essentially trying to gag people's responses or conversations around Warhammer, whether that be in a way that is legally binding that they can enforce through a court of law, or alternatively through just the threat, the fear of it, by putting all this fucking nonsense into NDAs and getting smaller creators to sign them. The two defenses of the whole thing are that it's fake, and like I said, it could just be the errors, the grammatical errors, the branded title and stuff. I've seen that on official documents working for a bank in the past, right? So, but it could still be fake. And the other defense is that it was never held up in a court of law. But it doesn't matter. They shouldn't still be doing it. We should be sticking up for the people who are putting their effort and their time into making hobby content and making the videos that you watch and that you enjoy, and often enjoy for free as well. We should be together collectively, be like, no, don't fucking do this. I'm not saying we boycott. The boycott was bollocks. No one actually boycotted. And boycotts are largely ineffective for those reasons, right? But I'm saying that we do stand up and say, no, you fucking don't. Or as Guy did, go back and needle them for the money that they now owe him. This is fucking shit. If this is real, this is really fucking shit. And I hate it. And that's it. That's my video on the NDAs. To summarise, I've never seen anything like it, and I've signed many an NDA. Almost 10. There's a video in the description below of someone who's got a lot more lore background going through it. I recommend watching that. I fucking hope it's fake. But if they don't say anything, I'm going to assume it's real. Because I feel like saying it's fake is the obvious way to avoid this PR and reputational damage. I guess my final point is, if you're a creator, don't sign any fucking NDAs that you haven't read or don't understand. Talk to some friends. Talk to other creators. That's another thing, right? Companies don't want you to discuss your salary. Big companies probably don't want creators talking about what they're signing to get access to a box of Crawl Boy Orcs early, or a Kill Team box or some shit. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to share. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with some magic content, and on Wednesday, we'll talk about the LGT. Ta-ta for now.